Well, we are talking about AB 12. So if you rent here in California, some relief is on the way. Starting today, landlords won't be able to charge more than 1 month's rent for a security deposit. Joining us now to talk more about AB 12 and the pros and cons of the bill is Justin Isaac, the lawyer in Blue Jeans Group. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Justin. We were just talking about this off camera. First, let's explain what exactly AB 12 says.
Well, there's a new change in the law that it says that the landlords can only charge 1 month's rent for a security deposit, which the goal here is to make sure that the person moving in doesn't have this huge financial burden. And the purpose of the law is to try and reduce the cost overall and make housing potentially more affordable to some people. So that's the goal.
Yeah, more accessible if you don't have to come up with that 3-month security deposit.
First, last, and security. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, because before landlords could kind of put in effect whatever they wanted, essentially, but there could be some unintended consequences here. Let's talk about what this could mean for landlords.
Yeah, I've been seeing around that some landlords might start charging more rent so they can charge a higher security deposit. It might send more people to court, because if you can only recover so much from a security deposit and there are damages in excess of what that security deposit is, that might end up in court anyways to bring that tenant in there to recover some of the damages there. So might be more court now.
Why do you think the state of California seems to be making it so difficult for landlords? I mean, we've seen a number of laws in the past 5 years even that have really been in favor of renters and making it very difficult for even those smaller families or couples or even an individual investor who's saying, I'm not going to put my money away in some of these stocks and bonds. I'm going to invest in real estate and get on this Airbnb track. Why does it seem California doesn't like that idea?
It's a good question. I think that maybe when you look at it from an outsider's perspective, and if you're not involved in that field, if you're looking at it, the prices of houses have gone up. So landlords, it seems like they're making a lot of money, or they have a lot of money as a result. The renting costs have gone up too. And those are the people who are being, that can't usually afford it, who are being kind of disenfranchised by the higher rents, or that's just maybe how the perspective is. So you have one group who is making more money, one group is making less money, so they're trying to protect the renters, but some of these laws may or may not be doing that. So it's hard to tell at this point.
Now, is there any sort of regulation on if you own more than X amount of units?
Yeah,
okay,
there's an exception in this law that it says if you own 4 units or less, essentially, this doesn't apply to you. So for small mom and pop landlords who only have one property, you can still charge, what you previously did, or don't have this cap at 1 month's rent. But for the bigger ones, the apartment complexes and whatnot, they are capped at 1 month's rent.
And I mean, it seems as though you have so many challenges if you are trying to get into California with a lot of these regulations that are coming down, which again makes it more difficult to build affordable housing or housing for even that middle income bracket.
Yeah, the housing, I mean, building in California is pretty difficult as it is, and being a landlord, you have all these regulations. You have to do things in a very specific way when trying to evict someone, or if you have cause or no cause. There's a lot of different exceptions to these different rules, and so it can be pretty difficult making sure you follow the law. That's why having a great property manager definitely will help in situations like that.
So AB 12 goes into effect today.
As of today.
All right.
It's not retroactive though, so starting today and going forward, but anyone who has charged more in the past, it doesn't apply to them.
Right, so if you're in a current contract with a tenant, or you had previously paid an extra security deposit amount, too bad.
Out of luck.
Okay. All right, Justin Isaac, thank you so much. Appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you.